Okay, so I got done watching this trailer for the American Society for Magical Negroes. So from what I understand, the concept of the magical Negro is like I don't know which one was first, but it reminds me of the magical pixie dream girl. Essentially, is genderized. The woman is like fantastical. She helps the male protagonist overcome their social anxiety because it's typically that the protagonist is a person with low self-esteem and all that, and then a woman pops up. It actually reminds me of Journey to Zathura, something like that. Um, and so she helps with his anxiety, and then after he's happier and stuff, she disappears. So she was like magic. She came, helped out. I've seen this before in a few of them. One of them could be like Fooly Cooly. That's an anime. She comes in, fixes this guy. He kind of likes her, but she disappears. So she essentially helped him boost up his self-esteem. Like, what is it? Coming of age. And so she disappears like the Tooth Fairy. I don't know what the tone is for this. I mean, I can see narratively how it works out, but it misses the concept of the magical Negro in films where the male has no desires of his own. He just kind of exists to help the protagonist, happens to be white. And then he kind of sacrifices himself, or he disappears or something like that. He really doesn't matter. He's just there to help the protagonist. So it goes to show, like, this girl you're trying to help out, I kind of like her too. And then it turns out, I guess it's like, if you don't help this white person, or at least if you're not a matchmaker to this white guy that you're assigned to help, it could hurt us all. And so it's kind of almost like Romeo and Juliet, almost, kind of, only it's one-sided. And this girl, I don't know, I'm not really sure what it's trying to show, but narratively, it's supposed to be a spin on the narrative in the story. And it would work if it was anything but the magical Negro. If he was just a wizard and he was supposed to help people in general, this would work. But it doesn't, because it messes with a trope that is real, that is seen a little too often. It's kind of like when black people die the first in scary movies. It's like we know this is a trope. So why are we making this thing kind of like, it's not a trope? Actually, we're gonna make it about something else. It's like, this is dumb. It's dumb. So, yeah, it would have been good if it was not racialized. If it wasn't racialized, then it would have been like a better story, because narratively it kind of works. But my point is, who is this for? Another thing I kind of don't like is kind of like it's weirdly commodifying white women, in my opinion. This is just my opinion. Now mind you, I made a previous video about interracial relationships, and make sure you find the right person. Does it matter the race? Not really. The culture kind of matters a bit more. The personality, the compatibility, all those things matter more. I get it. You need a pretty person. We all like pretty people, but there's just things that matters far more. And if they're not met, you're probably just not going to get a good relationship out of it. But my point is, this series just, I don't know. Usually if you follow a story, the story kind of just, it should be predictable to some extent. And this wasn't really predictable. It's not really telling me anything. It's not really talking to a specific type of people. It's supposed to talk to us as black people because it's magical Negroes, but it's not. It's messing with a formula that isn't really made by us. And this is supposed to be a critique on the formula of the magical Negro. So why isn't this, I mean, it should change, but again, like I said, with my Straw Dogs theory, or the Straw Dogs effect, it's not gonna really, I don't believe it's really gonna change the trajectory of where it's going. The trajectory is that, I like this girl, I accidentally paired her up with this other guy assigned to help. But it's not really like we should kind of break out of this magical Negro thing. And the thing is, it's not made by black people. It's not even, it only has validity in this narrative is because it's what the narrative tells you. It's not a meta-analysis on the tendency for assigned black characters to help out the white protagonist. So it just exists in universe to do nothing. You know, if it was a meta-analysis to say, hey, we shouldn't really be about assigned to help out white people. You know, like I like the premise before where it was like, we have to make white people more comfortable. Make white people more comfortable so that black people as a whole are safer. Okay, grab that narrative and challenge it. So let's say he talks to this white woman, character that happens to be white, and then he says, hey, let me show you into my world. And then she says, hey, that's kind of strange. Why can't white people just learn to control themselves and not rely on you guys so that you guys can be safer? And then why don't she like encourage white people to not rely on other people? That would work. You know, this concept of white fragility, I understand it. There's certain concepts that white people for some reason can't handle, but they are quick to take shots at other people for other ignorant things. In my opinion, it's just things that I've seen in my life. But the concept should be is that, yeah, maybe white people should teach each other to not be so fragile and rely on minorities to help them feel better about topics that actually involve them. So, yeah, I would have liked the concept for this woman that he's pursuing to be a little bit more thoughtful and just kind of have her eyes open and him take her to this magical place and be like, oh, wow, I don't really like that. I don't like that there's these black dudes who are trying to make me feel better so that they could feel better. And to question the entire society, that would make sense. But since it's not really shown that in the trailer, it's not really taking any critique. And it's grabbing a critique from actual analysis. Maybe it's critical race theory. I don't really know too much about that. I know conservatives really like to dump on critical race theory. I don't fully know what that is. I just know that we live in a not so equal society, socially speaking, and there's not really much being done about it. And every time there is something done about it, my Christian friends from conservative spaces don't like that, and they demonize it, calling it woke and blah 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 blah. But yeah, it's just there's so much this story could have done, and it decided not to do anything. And it's just a full-on love story. It's just like, oh, I like you a lot, and it's not really like, and it's like the black people are trying to stop him. Stop, no, sorry. If you don't help this white man, we're not gonna exist anymore. And it should be less about that, because what it's doing is demon. I'm glad we're being a lot more privy to like just goofy takes about us by people who are not us. I'm glad we're doing that a lot more. I mean, because I never liked it. It's nuance there that kind of sets a precedent for bad movies about us, and it just sets the tone to make further bad movies and therefore by extension further bad assumptions about us. It's just not okay. You know, I mean, people are already kind of ignorant. Like the stuff people will say about us, like what happened with that Johnny Somali thing that happened, one dude. And they use that, and people use that as a proxy to demonize other people who look like me about foreign places, even though there's plenty of other non-black people who have messed around and really show bad tourism to places like Japan, Korea, Taiwan, this, that, and the third. So again, if one image of one person could do stuff like that, imagine what movies do that shows it to an entire audience. This is why we are so critical of movies, because it's not one person doing something and influencing a collective of people. It's a movie influencing a broad audience of people that can be shown outside the country and be promoting negative stereotypes and thus bad assumptions for people who have never met us. It's that deep. It's that serious. These images continuously shown in people's faces will build a negative precedent for us.